What do you do when you have big dreams? You have some creativity and giftings and purpose inside of you that you're just tapping into and you can feel it, but you are still so overwhelmed by your childhood trauma, not feeling good enough, being unacknowledged, feeling unlovable, self-sabotage, not knowing how you are going to get to where you want to go. Hi, I'm Sarah Evangeline. Welcome to my show. I'm so glad that you're here. On the show, we're going to be talking about your body, your emotions, your spiritual side, and God, and how it's all connected. And I'm here to give you pieces of returning and rebuilding love when it has been stripped from you since childhood. Every single episode, my intention is to help you take a piece and reclaim a piece of your body, of your soul, of your mind, and know who you are. With me, you are going to be getting a perspective about things that are not normally talked about. Um, I love, like, I speak up and I use my voice with the mission of I want you to be able to use your voice. I want you to be able to step out into confidence. I want you to be able to know I have a voice. I have a mission. I'm not supposed to fit in the box. If you've felt like you've never fit in, I'm there with you, and we need to reclaim that part of us. There's no box to fit in. There's no filters and masks you need to put on in order to be loved in this space. This is for you to really, really have a safe space to see yourself and to be welcomed home. So, welcome. I'm Sarah Evangeline. I'm the founder of the Soul Talk Method. I'm on a mission to guide people to trust their bodies again when they've lived so disconnected from who they are. And you know, this is really a relaunch of my channel here. I have been on a journey of becoming, and I am not the same woman I was even 4 months ago, let alone a year ago, when I started this channel and with intention, with integrity. And I want to bring you to this new place that I'm in, but actually for you though. This is not about me. This is about you. My work is very, very sacred. Whenever a client comes in, my purpose is to guide them home to themselves. I get inspired by my clients. They are amazing. They are stepping out in their giftings. They're not here to live a life like me or anyone else. They're there to live a life for themselves and guided by their soul. And a key aspect of that is knowing how to rebuild love, rebuild safety. If you're listening to this and you're connecting with this, most likely you do not have safety in your body right now. And I did not. I grew up in a home where I witnessed things at a young age that were really, really hard to see. And as a child, when you don't have emotional safety, what happens is you suppress your pain, you suppress who you truly are. It's not safe to show up as who you are, and your body goes into this trauma response of freeze and flight or numbing as a way to survive. And I want you to get to a place in your life where you are connected back to all those pieces of you that you have suppressed. And I want you to really hear me when I say this. You've never been disconnected from your true self. You've never been disconnected from your soul. That's why you have those little glimmers, but you are living as if you're disconnected. There's a lot of things going on in your life, a lot of inner chaos, like an inner storm has been going on, and you've been trying to hold it all together, and it's really exhausting. It's really overwhelming. And so to really relaunch the show and to welcome you here, I really want to just share a little piece of my story. And I want you though to listen to this and really let it sink into you because so many of you are walking around, you know that you are in pain, you know that things have hurt you, you know that you want out of the entrapment that you feel, but so many of you are still numb to the things that happened to you because of your survival. You've just had to survive. So you haven't actually felt it. And, part of my journey is I grew up in church, I grew up in religion where everyone wanted me to tell my story, my testimony. That's what they called it. And I could get up on that stage and I would wow people with my story. I'd overcome so much at such a young age. But what I didn't even realize at the time is that I was living in a constant trauma response. I was waking up with panic attacks. I had anxiety. I wasn't sleeping. I grew up way too fast. And inside me was all this inner turmoil that was actually numb, where I could tell my story, but I could not feel it. I could not feel what happened to me. And I want you to reflect on my story and ask yourself, you know, now I say this to my clients, I'm going to say it to you. This is not about forcing up a memory. You do not have to force your traumatic memories up to be healed. Your body remembers them. All my work is about your body guiding you, not your trauma. And so please do not, I love you, please do not force up the memories. You don't need to do that. You can just allow this to resonate with you, and you're going to receive exactly what you need. So stick with me. Okay, so yeah, I just want to share pieces of my journey here with you. At a young age, I think it was like 4 or 5, my parents got divorced, and I knew within myself things were not okay. I saw things, I witnessed things. I knew my dad was cheating on my mom. I knew that things were not okay. I saw my mom shrivel up into this weak woman that was going through immense pain. I saw her cry. Um, and you might think, oh, that's just mundane. Parents have problems all the time. Parents argue, yes. And there's no perfect parent. And I'm not here to shame any parents. I am not here to shame my parents. I love my parents. But I've gotten to this place now. A lot of you are probably have some anger, resentment, bitterness. That is okay. Feel your feelings. If you need support, let me know. All of your emotions are valid for what happened to you. You need a safe space to express them and regulate them. But for me, I thought this was normal. I knew things were not okay. I witnessed abuse in the home. I witnessed a lot of things that made me, at the core root of who I am, unsafe. I could not rely on my parents. I want you guys to know this. I could not rely on my parents for safety. I had inconsistent love. Sometimes, if I were to show up in my emotions because I was so scared of what was going on, I was punished for it. I was not held in safety. And I say this, and I'm honestly giving you the digest version, the PG version, because I think that I want you guys to reflect on that. And the big takeaway here that I want you to know is if your parents did not know how to nurture your emotions when they came up, you are not safe in your body today. Because what you've done is you've developed this coping mechanism that my emotional needs and my emotions are not safe to be seen. So I have to go and hide myself in order to get love, in order to keep a roof over my head, in order to be accepted by mom and dad. A lot of us as well, and I've done this as well, is we feel like we barely got the bare minimum from our parents because they were in so much pain. And the reason why I can talk about this now is I've come full circle. I've really integrated my trauma, my emotions. I have forgiven my parents, and I've also taken sacred responsibility and forgiven my younger version self for she did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong. She was just surviving. But because emotional safety was not given to me, and I did not have a parent that I could rely on for safety, I developed patterns where even though I did not get safety from my parents, there's a pattern that I developed where that's how I got my worth. That's how I got significance, was from barely getting the bare minimum, having to hide, having to suppress my needs. And so that showed up in how I lived my life. That showed up in the decisions I made. I always settled. I had this inner critic in my head that I was never enough, that I was worthless, that I was unlovable, that I was not enough. And I know you guys are having those stories as well. They are not true. but they need to be looked at. It's so valid. Whatever you're going through, it's so valid. And then, the big one is I allowed relationships, I allowed men in that I could not rely on, that I carried the heavy burdens. Like, that's what I want you guys to know as well is when, part of me saw my parents in so much pain. And as children, we are so full of love. We just weren't nurtured it. And that's why I'm here, because we're here to nurture it. We're here to change the planet. We're here to connect back to our bodies and our emotions and God, where we are going to be changing the planet and moving from fear to love. That is why you're here. You are moving from fear, fearing yourselves, to loving all of who you are, embracing all of who you are, and rebuilding love from the ground up. But when you see your parents in so much pain and and you see that they're not okay, you don't think my parents are hurting me. You think I've got to carry my parents' emotions in order for everything to be okay. I need to carry my parents' emotions in order to be okay. That is a huge burden and weight that you've been carrying since childhood, and it is hurting you over and over and over again. So fast forward, I'm 23, and I'm giving you again the digest version. I think every episode will dive into a piece, but I was 22, 23. I had done everything right. I had written a book. I had done so many things. I was almost done my master's degree. I had done all the things that they told me to do to be happy and successful. Yet there was a big part of myself that I felt like I was dying inside. I spent most of my 20s walking out of darkness and hell that was entrapped within me that I did not even know that I had. When you grow up in trauma, in a household where your emotions are not safe, and guys, your emotions not being safe can even be mom and dad never said I love you. That hurts. I thought that the panic attacks, the not sleeping at night, the inner chaos that I felt every day, but yet I was so numb to it, I thought that was normal because at age 4 or 5, it started. I did not know what peace was. And I went to church and I was the good girl, and they talked about Jesus loves you and you are accepted and you're loved. But I'm going to speak more and more and more about this. But for now, churches and pastors who are leading and teaching about God, but are not trauma informed, you need to realize that there's people sitting in your pews that are seeing God through the lens of their trauma. I saw God through this lens of, I'm not enough. I have to do things to be worthy. I have to cover up in order to be accepted. I have to disconnect from myself in order to get into heaven. All of those are a distorted view of seeing God, seeing yourself. And this work is about coming full circle. It's about coming home to yourself and knowing that your body, your emotions are the vessel, are the channel, your purpose is you. You're the purpose. You have an amazing purpose. But if you're living with all these fragmented pieces, nothing's wrong with you, something happened to you, but these fragmented pieces because you have grown up carrying the emotional burdens of others, not thinking that you're enough, not knowing how to be safe in your body and actually loved unconditionally. It is really, really hard. It's hard to live life like that. I'm here to tell you, living with inner chaos, living with stress and panic attacks and anxiety is not normal. Anything told to you in a fear-based way is not the whole truth. We are coming back into your truth. You're coming back into your body. This is why you're here. And so, I was about 22, 23. I had just written a book. I put a lot of love into it. I had good intentions, but I was not embodying anything I wrote in the book. And I say that with so much love and grace for myself and compassion for myself because at that age, at 21, I was doing what I was told. I did not know how to listen to my own voice. I did not know how to speak up and say to someone, I'm not okay. I need help. because on the outside, I was glamorized as this girl who had it all together because I was a master at it. I was a master at carrying all the chaos and pretending I'm okay and holding it all together. I will even say here that I felt like I was parenting my parents. I love them. They did the best they could. They were stuck in trauma patterns that they did not know how to get out of. Guys, we're doing the work our parents didn't know they could. And that is why it is so sacred because we are honoring our parents by doing this. You might be angry, you might be bitter, you might not want to be in contact with your parents right now, but you will get to a place where you realize you are actually honoring your heritage. You are honoring where you came from. You are honoring your ancestors who couldn't speak up about the sexual abuse, who couldn't speak up, but you are now. And you're actually turning poison arrows that got shot at you over and over again into pure love. You're not here to stay stuck in your suffering story. You are here to transmute that. That is your power. That is your birthright. You are rebuilding love from the ground up. But when you've been parenting your parents, you've never made yourself a priority. And that's where I was at 23, 24, feeling like my world was going to collapse. I did not want to be here anymore because I thought to myself, if this is how good it gets, this is awful. I want nothing to do with it. But then you see, going into my own darkness is where I saw my light. I was living with my grandparents at the time. I'm so grateful for them. And I couldn't leave my house for about 4 months. Everything was collapsing. I did not know what was happening to me. Guys, I was in my master's degree for counseling. And, this is why I've developed my method for healing at the root because it's not enough just to go into a counseling office and talk about your pain. You need to actually know how to hit the trauma at the root level and heal from the ground up. And I say this metaphor to give you this illustration of I had so much pain inside me, so much pain. I did not know a way out. All I wanted to do was get out of it. And we will do that with distractions, with numbing, with addictions, with saying, okay, we'll just go a little bit longer. But for months, I was in this darkness. No one knew. I think my grandpa knew. He had Alzheimer's, but he could see me. I look back on that and I thank his spirit for being with me then. When I was in my darkness and I did not know a way out, I was so depressed. I thought that I was at the end of my life. And in a way, I was. I was at the end of, I could not carry this anymore. And I had this still small voice come in and say, but Sarah, there's more for you. There's more for you. And I started to just lean into that whisper of, yeah, there's something more. I did not know what it was. I was still terrified, but I started to see myself, accept myself, see all of my scars and all of the things that had happened to me for a divine purpose. And I started to connect to my body in a way that no one else taught me to, in a way that I had to discover for myself. And that's why I'm here, because you have the ability to climb out of your darkness, climb out of your pain to see your true light. You are not here to stay in the hole. And so, I'm now 31. Age has nothing to do with it, but I say that with 8 to 9 years of this journey. About 4 months ago, I moved into my dream home on the beach. Everything is so calm here. When I was in the depths of my pain, and I will say I've been to hell and back, when I was in hell, in that mindset, in that feeling, I promised myself, this will not be the end of your story. There's going to be a day where you wake up and you're so happy. And I can say with full confidence, I have arrived. I have arrived. And so, if there's part of you, if there's someone here who's wanting to create a business, wanting to step out, wanting to do something that everyone else is telling you you're crazy, I have been told over and over again, Sarah, you're not smart enough. That's a whole other part of my journey of having a learning disability and being told I would never make it through university. You can do anything. When you're connected back to your body, you are connected back to your mission, and you are unstoppable. You are unlimited. You are here to be all of who you are. You are not restricted by a test score or whether someone else accepts you or the economy. We are here to rebuild love from the ground up. And in that, you are going to create something. You are here to create a soul-led legacy. I am not perfect. I am both a student and a teacher of my medicine that I teach through the Soul Talk method. I am not here to fake it. I am not here to be a teacher that just talks about it and does not walk it. I am walking it. I sit in front, I have a beautiful mirror and with an altar, and I sit in front of that mirror every morning and I partake in the method that I teach. I connect with my body. That's why I'm able to do this. People ask me, how can you do this? It's such a trust and a faith that church did not taught me. Like most of my clients, they have their own journey. I'm not here to teach anyone about what they should believe. I guide them back to their body, and guess what? Most of them have a beautiful spiritual connection with God that no one could teach them but connecting with their body. And it's so contradicting when church says, accept Jesus into your heart, but then all the other teachings are about disconnecting you from your body. It's very backwards, and I'm here to stand up for that because there's so many of you guys hurting from the church, yet you are not walking away from God and your inherent birthright to be loved and be worthy. You are walking away from people who instilled fear into you and they didn't even know they were doing it. Anyways, what I want you guys to take away from today is that you are here for a divine purpose, that you need to actually look at your pain. You cannot carry it. It is such a burden. And I see you, and you're so valid. And everything that you feel and are going through is valid. And I want you to know that you are made for something more. You are made for something more. Your darkness, your pain, your suffering is not the end of the story. Usually it's a story that someone else gave you, and it's not yours. I want you to be able to connect back to that. So join me in this incredible journey of coming back to who you are, rebuilding love from the ground up, because everything else you desire comes after that. And I'm not here to promote that you have to be fully healed or fully have the answers before things come into you. No, I was building my business. I started 4.5 years ago. It's been my dream. I know that I'm here to do this and nothing else. I don't have a plan B. And this is probably going to evolve as I evolve, but I don't have a plan B. This is it. And, you know, the last 4.5 years, I have also been healing. You can have both. A trauma response is you have to pick between the two. Now, I've had to check in with myself and make sure I have integrity and make sure that I am walking the talk. And I've had tons of support, which is why do not put the pressure on yourself to do this alone. I'm so excited. I am so excited to guide you to rebuild love from the ground up. We are going to be talking about childhood trauma, why emotions are so important, how your emotions and how they were nurtured in childhood affect who you are today. We're going to be talking about spirituality and God and harnessing that relationship in a way that maybe church has stripped you from, trusting your body. Oh, I'm so excited. So click the subscription button, follow along. We are in for the journey that you are here to have. It is your birthright. I want you to walk away from this saying yes. I say yes for more. I say yes to discovering who I truly am. I am done settling. You might not have the answers yet. You might not know what that is. That is okay. Just give yourself the permission that you are worthy of this, even if you don't feel it. Give yourself the permission to lean into the part of you that knows, the part of you that knows. I'm so glad that you're here. Again, I'm Sarah Evangeline, and I will see you really soon.